About a week and a half ago, I experienced a health scare where in the middle of the night, I started experiencing shortness of breath and tightness in my chest. And for those of y'all who know my miracle story, I survived a stroke, but as a result, it revealed a hole in my heart. So I had heart surgery just a few weeks ago. So can you imagine what's running through my head? I called the doctor and they said, you need to call 911 immediately. EMS shows up and they run all the tests, but they find nothing detrimental. But at the same time, they said, hey, you need to go to the ER right now. Go to the ER. While I'm sitting waiting, I'm laying hands on my chest and I'm saying, God, you've done a miracle before. I'm believing you to do it again. And in that moment, he doesn't do it the way I thought he would. Instead, he chooses to do it through modern medicine and doctors. All I needed was an IV and I got some blood thinners, which I'm still taking. But then it made me think, what if we're waiting for God to do something miraculously and he actually wants to do it naturally or supernaturally or practically or a divine interruption, divine disruption, where I've even seen it in my personal miracle story where I'm on the way to patient first after I tear my Achilles, but my doctor friend calls and says, no, don't go there, go here. Going to the place that he referred actually allowed them to schedule my surgery sooner. On the day of my surgery, they call and they say, hey, we actually got an earlier slot. You can come in an hour earlier. Why does that make a difference? Because I ended up being at the hospital when I had the stroke, at the right place, right time. I go into surgery for them to remove the blood clots. They gave me blood thinners. They said scientifically, medically, naturally, the blood thinners are what cause the blood clots to disappear. But the doctors also said we've never seen them disappear this fast. And I'm hoping that this encourages somebody who's maybe thinking, I've seen God do a miracle in Ty's life and I believe he could do it in my life. But if he does it in your life, what if he does it a different way? What if it doesn't come miraculously? What if it comes supernaturally? And we see this throughout the Bible where, for example, Moses, he goes to split the Red Sea. But if you read through the Bible, it actually says, and the water was pushed back by a strong east wind. Right? We see it again with the walls of Jericho, where if you do your research, you'll find out that Jericho actually geographically sits on a fault line where it is absolutely normal and regular for them to experience earthquakes and seismic activity. Could it be that there was already a crack? But it is still a divine timing and divine appointment that God caused it to happen at just the right time. Then we see it again with Joshua as he crosses over the Jordan. If you do your research again, you'll find out that the Jordan River, it is normal for them to experience mudslides, and those mudslides, every time they happen, they cut off the water again. But it's still a divine disruption. It is still a divine interruption. It is still the supernatural, right, for God to allow it to happen at the moment that they step into the water. I hope that this is encouraging to somebody who's maybe waiting for something to happen miraculously, but maybe God has been doing the healing in a very supernatural or even a practical way.